Welcome to a new episode of The Startup Show. Today we are here in Berlin and I'm super excited to meet with the CEO and founder of VAI, Garry. Welcome to The Startup Show.
Thank you, Cedric. I'm happy to be here.
Welcome to a new episode of The Startup Show. It's very exciting because it's one of the last episodes of season 1 of The Startup Show and I'm excited already for season 2. Today I'm excited to meet with Garry, who is the CEO and founder of VAI here in Berlin. So a big disclaimer, I was here now for 2 months assisting here with the strategy of social media and various other tasks. So just so my audience knows what's going on here. But Garry, as usual on the Startup Show, you get about a minute to introduce yourself to the audience.
I'm Garry. I'm the founder and CEO of VAI. VAI is an invoice financing company or a trade financing company. In Germany, we say Einkaufsfinanzierung. We are trying to disrupt the way people are paying for their goods. In particular, SMEs, small, medium-sized companies that the German economy is based on, so Deutscher Mittelstand. And thanks to our service, many companies will be able to pre-finance their goods when they order them, so they get more liquidity down the road. We finance goods up to 12 months. So let's say you as a small business need to order goods, bikes, let's say for the next season. We can pay you the bikes, you get them delivered whenever they're being produced, you can sell them and only then you repay us.
It sounds very interesting. I want to go more into depth after, but like you have a very interesting CV, which I think would be interesting and relevant to my audience to hear a little bit. Maybe you can tell us, you are an investment bank turned entrepreneur. Maybe you can tell us a little bit of the shift and why you decided to shift from, let's say, corporate job to entrepreneurship.
Basically, I started working in banking in the middle of the financial crisis. And I thought, all right, this might be just a quick episode of market downturn. At the end, it turned out to be one of the most disastrous financial episodes in history of the financial markets, meaning many jobs got lost. Thankfully, I still remained in the banking business, but obviously due to increased regulation, increased compliance, it's not what it used to be. So it means the upside is just not as much as it was. And I'm not talking even about the salaries, but actually also about the deal flow, the types of businesses you can do. So I was working on a derivatives desk, on a derivatives trading desk. And obviously derivatives are these days considered, a disastrous financial instrument. Nonetheless, it's important for certain companies to work with derivatives, especially credit derivatives. Nonetheless, after a while in 2013, I started seeing that many people turned away from banking and never came back and went into business, becoming entrepreneurs themselves, becoming VC investors. And that's the route I was planning on going. But before becoming a VC, I thought maybe I should become an entrepreneur first. And this is what I would suggest to all people trying to become a VC. And this is how I came into working in the fintech business, in the fintech startup business, due to the fact that I have a strong passion about tech and always have been involved in finance. Right. So my first job was at, back then, number 26, now N26. As an entrepreneur in residence, I was working there for a couple of months before founding my own company, Cookies. It was a peer-to-peer payment company. Yeah. They got sold to Klarna. After we first had good traction, then there were some internal problems. And after that, I took some time off and now I'm back with VAI. Yeah. And VAI is something I'm very excited about. We have a great team. We have great investors. We have an amazing product that everyone in Germany will experience very soon or by now. Right. We have a waiting list. So yeah, super excited about that.
Yeah, so I want to deep dive a little bit more into, let's say, that time of your previous or first venture. Maybe you can like elaborate a little bit on the main learnings that you had when you say like, okay, like let's start our own venture with a payment app, and then when you look back, reflect on this time, what were like the deep learnings that you can say like those I will bring with me into this new venture?
Obviously, selecting the right team, selecting the right partners is something very important, and you need to do a lot of due diligence before you do that. Starting with employees, of course, especially the first employees are super crucial to any startup success. Having, as I said, the right partners, investors, people that you do cooperations with. This is something that some people are very reluctant to say no to. But I think a good entrepreneur, and I'm not saying I'm one, but a good entrepreneur should say 9 out of 10 times no, and only say yes to things he's very certain about.
Right. What do you think about culture in general? Is this something that is important to you from the bat, or is it like something that you say like will develop over time?
Well, you tell me. I think we built a good and interesting culture here, and we're trying to always aim for being better, right? Because I do think that's very important. You spend a lot of time of your life at work, so why not make it fun and interesting and intellectually challenging and rewarding? And again, not talking only about salaries, but also rewarding in a way where you think, yeah, I'm excited to go to work this morning and spend my day here. Right. So culture is probably the most crucial thing in an early stage company.
Right. So let's move a little bit to VAI. I think we discussed your CV a little bit, but maybe the setup of VAI is super interesting. There are a lot of stakeholders here that have certain interests in making this a success story. Maybe you can elaborate like why this is, let's say, different to like a startup as we know it with venture capital backed money.
Yeah. So our main investor is a bank, and given that setup means I, as a founder, have one main stakeholder that I'm reporting to and that I'm going to get feedback from. I think they're very strong people sitting behind this back and supporting us. So very excited about that. Very excited of them helping us out throughout our journey, because a bank has experience and has insights into things that most startups don't, especially fintech startups, right? They already have an established customer base. They already have credit records of loans they gave out, of businesses performing well, performing good, signs to watch out for when a business is getting or performing better, and when is a business starting to go into the red zone, because this is super important for us and for our scoring algorithm, which is, I guess, our secret sauce, because we do try to score as efficiently as possible with as many relevant data points as possible. And this is something most banks can't do due to regulatory constraints, but also due to technological constraints. So, for instance, we have APIs to an online shop system, or we have APIs to an ERP or accounting system where we can pull data once the user allows us to, where we can pull data from and include that in our scoring mechanism. And through that, we might be able to give you a better loan or better quote than anyone else. Technically, it's not a loan, but...
I mean, do you see, let's say, main differences besides, let's say, the reporting? Let's say you are within Bridgemaker, a company builder, and together with this bank, did you say like, well, this helped me really get this venture off the ground? Did you say like, well, this is like a key to success or key to building a foundation of a startup?
So Bridgemaker helped us build that startup. Initially, that's very helpful. Bridgemaker is a company builder. That's one of their first big ventures. So I was excited to work with them on that. It's helpful in the beginning because when you need key people for key positions, that's why a company builder makes sense, that he can fill those positions in a very flexible way, where you just say, I need a developer, I need a venture developer or tech developer, I need a graphics designer, and a couple of days later you have one.
Sure. So let's in the end of my show, I usually talk a little bit about your expertise, and I would like to dive into the local startup scene here. So maybe give us a couple of insights, primarily, let's say, on the fintech scene, what you see here, what's trending at the moment, and then in a second step, like the Berlin startup as an ecosystem, and maybe even a little bit critical, what could be improved.
To answer your first question, I'm quite excited about blockchain again. I was excited about blockchain a couple of years ago, then I lost interest in that, and now I'm back into trying to understand the hype that blockchain or blockchain ICOs or crypto ICOs now receive, because that gives you a small hint of what the market thinks, what the user think, what investors also think. I'm closely following that trend, and I think Berlin has some really exciting blockchain startups. I know a lot is happening on the insurtech front, but insurance services, I think most startups are focused on the acquiring users. But with insurance, you also have a huge chunk of a tail. It's called in German Schadensregulierung, where when there's a claim, an insurance claim, of actually handling this claim. And I don't see too many startups going into that direction. So I think this is something I would criticize, not just focus how to disrupt insurance sales channels and how to acquire and onboard insurances faster, but actually how to deal with the claims and the claim management and provide technology to disrupt that service.
Lemonade does that. I'm not sure if you know about them in Israel. They startup and they were able to pay a claim, I think, within 3 seconds or something like this. So we'll see if that is taking off. Anything about, let's say, the Berlin? I mean, you grew up here in Berlin. You know this scene from really early on. Maybe before it was cool to be part of the startup scene. What do you see, let's say, is something that is really, let's say, the strength and maybe a little bit of the weakness of the Berlin startup ecosystem without the focus of fintech?
The strength, I think, and many people talked about that in the past, is you have many execution-focused startups in Berlin. Given the ecosystem that Rocket Internet built, this way of building startups took off quite massively. I think still till this day innovation is lacking, and that has many reasons. I think not many people in Germany like to take calculated risks. I don't think many educational institutions support innovation in terms of someone becoming an entrepreneur. You always have great engineers, industrial, mechanical, software engineers, but somehow after they get the education, I don't see the support of the private economy. So not many people get to their peak level in terms of trying to invent something, due to the fact there are not many companies that support that, or the government is not supporting it enough. So I think what also many German corporates fear is that more and more innovation will come out of the valley or from abroad, and slowly many local services will die out. And this is something we in Germany and Berlin need to think of even more than we already do.
Okay, Garry, thank you very much for taking the time to entertain us and tell us about your life and your story. Thank you very much, everybody who tuned in today in this episode of the Startup Show. Thank you very much for your attention, and have a great day.